A film is in the works about Claudette Colvin, a civil rights hero whose criminal record was recently expunged. How have film and TV helped elevate leaders who have been maligned in history? I'm Dometi Pongo, and this is MTV News Need to Know. Of course, we've heard of the Trailblazer Rosa Parks, a black woman whose refusal to give up her seat on the bus to a white person eventually set the stage for desegregation. Claudette Colvin is a name many just heard in December when her record was expunged for taking the same action 9 months prior to Parks. But back then, Colvin wasn't considered an appropriate figure to serve as the face of the movement. In light of her recent expungement, how have respectability politics changed since the 50s and 60s, if at all? In 1955, Claudette Colvin was arrested for refusing to give up her bus seat to a white passenger when she was just 15 years old. She was dragged off the bus by cops who sexually harassed her. She was scared they might even rape her. Despite her age, she was put in an adult jail. And later, she was found guilty for assaulting the officers who arrested her, even though she maintained she stayed limp and didn't fight back. The NAACP chapter in Montgomery, Alabama decided to fight segregation by organizing a bus boycott and initially thought to rally around Colvin's case to get folks on board. But she had become pregnant that summer. And on top of that, she was very young and unmarried. And given the time, colorism was at play. Colvin was dark-skinned. Rosa Parks, on the other hand, was deemed a more sympathetic figure, especially as the NAACP leaders were trying to get white supporters on board. Parks was light-skinned, married, and highly respected in her community. She was chosen to essentially recreate Colvin's protests, so Colvin's story fell by the wayside. Colvin had to live with this assault charge on her record for decades, along with the fear of being arrested for violating probation every time she visited her family in Alabama. It wasn't until 2021, at 82 years old, that she filed for expungement. When her record was cleared a few months ago, she told CBS News that she was given the strength to remain seated on that bus by those that came before her.
I said I could not move because history had me glued to the seat. And they said, "How is that?" I said, well, it felt as though Harriet Tubman hands were pushing me down on one shoulder and Sojourner Truth's hand was pushing me down on the other shoulder.
Choosing Parks as the face of this act of resistance instead of Colvin embodies the irrationally high bar to which black people had and still have to rise. The idea that even if you have been wrong, so-called perfection is the only way to be taken seriously in a world designed for the white gaze. But in recent years, the media has been doing work to recontextualize history and the roles of certain figures. With productions like Hidden Figures, When They See Us, and Confirmation, new and old audiences saw real events retold with more accuracy and empathy through the lens of black subjects. Claudette Colvin's story will be told in the upcoming movie Spark, directed by Anthony Mackie. And King Richard's star, Sanaya Sidney, will play Colvin, highlighting her as an unsung hero. While civil rights leaders understood the importance of optics in their movement, clearing Colvin's juvenile record was an important symbolic gesture for this era too. Her decision was also influenced by the racial reckoning that unfolded in 2020. We saw people denigrate George Floyd's character and dredge up his past, from his struggles with addiction to his criminal record, in attempts to legitimize the murder that we all witnessed on camera. As protests swept the country and were met with anti-voting laws and other discouraging results, Colvin now wants young activists to remember that laws can change and that sustained protest does lead to progress. Colvin wrote in her 2021 court filing, "I'm thinking about why I'm seeking to have my name cleared by the state, is because I believe if that happened, it would show the generation growing up now that progress is possible and things do get better. It'll inspire them to make the world better." Colvin's legal team told MTV News that more people are reaching out about getting their names cleared. And in turn, they are launching the Foot Soldiers Justice Project. It's a coalition of advocates offering pro bono services to seek justice and expungement for others who fought for their civil rights. And it's important that we learn the names of those people. After all, Colvin credits her bravery in 1955 to having just learned about Harriet Tubman and Sojourner Truth in school. And that's what this month is all about. By continuing to learn about the people and perspectives that the history books have long ignored, we too can draw strength from them and contextualize their sacrifices within the modern day fight against systemic racism. I'm Dometi Pongo, and that's what you need to know.